What comes to mind when you think of censorship? Is it when you weren't allowed to watch a certain film or play a certain video game due to the rating? Is it when you wanted to show work that you've made to your peers but couldn't show it because of the choice of words, let alone the content of the work? Or is it when you couldn't freely express yourself because it could be deemed as socially unacceptable, let alone you'd get a lot of flack for it? Basically, censorship's all of that. Censorship is the suppression of speech or expression through any social platform that may be considered threatening or unacceptable. Censorship could be good in ways to combat against hate speech or any speech that shows a discriminatory feeling towards a certain group of people. However, censorship could be abused and can be very dangerous, as this can limit artistic freedom for a lot of content creators, heavily restrict the personal use of social media, and create an abuse of power for government officials. When we talk about limiting artistic freedom for a lot of content creators, this can be in the case of rappers, in which a lot of their songs, despite them being explicit heavy, could be turned into complete radio friendly, mostly probably due to the listener's ears, that of children. A fact that could be related to this is in the city of Aachen, Germany, when Camilla Shamis, Israeli artist, basically got her award withdrew from the city as she was a supporter of the BDS. From that, a young executive director at the museum also had a similar situation had with another artist, as their painting was taken down as regarded, saying it was deeply unfair to the veterans and veterans groups who've been misled on the work they saw by the work by an artist they never met. This shows how critical censorship can be when it comes to completely taking down artistic freedom or limiting it. I mean, from an outside reference of sorts, Xavier Majors, goes by Zay, underground rapper. He explained to me, as he would say, censorship could be very challenging for my work, as I can't freely express what I want and show my art to the people that I love or the fans that support what I do. It could be very hard for those artists to do. Example of that again, Hung Louis, who is a Chinese American artist. Her artwork was censored due to depiction of a young fighter at the close of China's Cultural Revolution. So with that in mind, artistry's not there. Second, what we can get onto is heavily restricts the personal use of social media. Social media is supposed to be ours, especially if we own the page. With an outside reference of Alyssa Stone, who is a major in political science, she has told me about her use of social media, basically stating that without her being able to express how she feels within politics as of today, she isn't able to really express freely without gaining the respect or having that mutual respect with other oppositions of sides. For example, fact is, Maryland created a Constitute message page that allows users on social media to express their opinions despite how critical they may be, as there was a string of incidents which a lot of government officials were blocking, which would be talked about later in my points. Testimony could be said from Evelyn Aswad, which American social media giants have chosen to move away from their initial First Amendment inclinations for a variety of reasons, including pressure from European authorities as well as advertisers and others to clean up their platforms, in which, in a sense, social media doesn't look like it's deemed to last long. Example of this could be also seen Alex Jones being removed from Facebook, YouTube, and Apple for inciting hate speech due to his controversial podcast. The last and third point is creating abuse of power complex for government officials. Local student at Liberty University, Jamari Davis, who also majors in political science, talked about her experience with that and how her uncle isn't allowed to say certain things as he works within the White House, and he's supposed to be, in a sense, mutual, but can't freely express his political beliefs in the sense of relating to Alyssa Stone. Fact is, in Citizen Lab, which is a Canadian human rights group, a number of nations are actually using American surveillance technology to censor content and track their citizens. With that being in mind, how are we even allowed to even know what we can say, let alone if we get what we say, it could be out there. In the case of the night First Amendment versus Trump, in which Donald Trump and Donald Scavone blocked citizens from his Twitter page due to his run and the amount of criticism he was getting, in which it was ruled that Donald Trump violated a First Amendment right, Clay Covert said, "The case is a game changer for both free speech and the right to petition government," who is the director of First Amendment Project. With that being in mind, really think. Censorship, you would think of it as a good thing. But with those being heavily restricted, is censorship something we really need?